Salutations and welcome to the encyclopedic, comprehensive podcast about the discography of Conor Oberst, Bright Eyes, Full Hearts, Can't Lose. I'm your host, Little.
And I'm your other host, Little.
And I got the reason for today's podcast. We are getting together to discuss the Desaparecidos 2002 album, Read Music, Speak Spanish. Morgan, it has been a while since we have sat down and recorded this, even though it doesn't feel like it has.
It doesn't feel like it has at all.
Yes. And yet, so much has happened.
Yes.
I mean, for one thing, I had a baby.
Yep.
That's a big thing.
Yep.
A brand new little Bright Eyes fan in
Yep.
the works. I will say that, honestly, Desaparecidos is kind of more Arlo's speed right now than Bright Eyes because he likes the really intense music.
What?
If I can't get him to calm down, I put on, like, Pup or something. Like, something hard. He likes the hard guitars and, or the most frenetic jazz. You know, it really mellows him out. I've told Christy that I think we walked around and listened to too much music while she was pregnant because he needs to constantly be in motion and hear loud sounds.
Interesting.
Basically, in order to
Very
be comforted.
interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
In the podcast proper, we're going to get into the birth stuff. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about it all. But of particular note, a couple of things for this podcast. First of all, at the baby shower, our friends Josh and Paige gave Christy and I a Bright Eyes themed mobile, which is sitting right next to us as we record the podcast today.
Yes, it is. It's very cool.
It has there's 3 oranges to signify the song Bowl of Oranges. There's a mirror in the middle. There's a piñata, themed to piñata. There's a ship in a bottle. There's a guitar. There's an airplane. There's a yellow bird. There is a Don DeLillo book and a thing of whiskey.
It was Don DeLillo whiskey and a blinking midnight clock.
It's a child's mobile like no other.
I never noticed the book.
Yeah, and this was they did not crochet the pieces themselves, but they very impressively curated this thing. And I'm pretty sure they wrote Don DeLillo
awesome.
on a little Barbie book, basically.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool, and Arlo loves it. We spent a lot of time under it, and it's one of the first things that he managed to focus his eyes on.
The clock and mirror is the coolest piece, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna post a picture of it, as with this episode and everything, so people know what we're talking about because it's a good visual guide. Mm-hmm. So that was the first Bright Eyesy thing around the birth. The other big Bright Eyesy thing involving the birth was Christy created this playlist. Mm-hmm. It's called Arlo's Coming, and it was a playlist that had just had all the music that she wanted to listen to while during the whole birthing process. And all the nurses and everybody, they were huge fans of this playlist. Everybody was like, "Ooh, what's this? Oh, I like this song. What is this?" So we got a lot of that. So Christy got a lot of props from the hospital staff for this playlist. It's like a 13, 14-hour playlist. And it was just shuffling through all the time. So I promise the fix was not in here. But after Arlo was born, 3:24 a.m., January 30th, the first song that was playing was I Will Be Grateful for This Day by Bright Eyes. So
I had a girl I knew, she grew, became a woman now. I think that she teaches at one of the schools downtown.
Again, this podcast all wrapped up in the circumstances of Arlo's birth. Arlo is going to be the world's greatest Conor Oberst fan someday. Just as soon as he can say the words Conor Oberst. It's going to be his first word.
He's gonna murder him. When he's 35, he's gonna murder him.
Yeah. I wanted to go back and find all of the tweets from people who were talking to us about Desaparecidos.
Yes.
Because I was thinking, how weird is it? Let's say you're a non-Bright Eyes fan who's been following along with this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. So far, you've listened to a Christmas album and Fevers and Mirrors, and maybe whatever other Bright Eyes stuff comes on, like on Spotify Radio when the album runs out of tracks.
Right.
You know, so you've heard a little bit of the Bright Eyes milieu. Okay? So,
Yeah.
what a radical departure Read Music Speak Spanish is.
Yes. Very much so. They just have a very different sound than everything else that Conor Oberst does because he's not like solely responsible for the songs.
Yeah, you definitely get the sense that Conor Oberst was maybe... This was around the time that he was recording Lifted.
Yeah.
And, you know, was maybe grateful for the opportunity to kind of like, let me just take a back seat and play rhythm guitar and scream about politics.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like vacation.
Well, and I think that like if he's okay, so he's like this political dude. 9/11 happens. George W. Bush is in office, and everyone is post this attack, you know, is praising George W. Bush,
Right.
who in,
Megaphone on top of the rubble.
who to Conor Oberst is like, you know, the devil.
Right. He was an early adopter of George Bush's bad. This is going to be used for bad things.
And stop sucking his dick over this shit.
When you try to contextualize Read Music Speak Spanish as being a kind of, it's amazing to think of it as an immediately post 9/11 album because its politics to me feel fairly modern, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel, and this is a word that someone used, Tom or Tim, I can't remember who, said dated.
Yeah.
Now, they were not referring to the politics. They were talking
No.
about the sound.
I know.
Which was also surprising to me, but I think this is what I've learned. Everyone who listened to kind of like pop punky music back in those days,
Yeah.
music with distorted power chords, basically, listened to different bands. And those couple of different ingredients formed this taste backbone that is so different for everyone. So to me, the kind of bands that I was listening to at the time, Desaparecidos sounded radically different.
Yeah.
And it does not sound like 2002, 2003 to me. It
No.
just sounds like Desaparecidos.
Well, and Denver Daly is on fire in this album.
Yeah.
His guitar stuff is crazy good. Something about it helps to not sound dated in my mind when it's like someone plays an instrument very differently than most people do or something.
But maybe
you know?
like, you know, maybe he listened to bands we didn't listen to, like maybe he listened to like At the Drive-In and like Thursday or
Yeah.
something. And something about that guitar tone and everything felt reminiscent of other bands. To me, something about the guitar tone on this album in particular sounds like nothing else. But when you think about the fact that, okay, I heard it first when I was 15 years old,
Yep.
right? And it's always sounded this way. And
Yeah.
I've had 15 more years of it in my brain that I can't reverse engineer how it came to sound like it sounds to me now.
Yeah.
So I was surprised by that comment, the idea that it sounded dated, but I was like, I can see how that could be true.
Yeah, well, I get how it's... I totally get the comment. I don't necessarily agree, mostly because of the idea that now, in today's day and age, there's so many different levels of production and everything like that. You could listen to a song now and be like, yeah, it sounds like it's from this time period, whatever.
Yeah, you're
Because
right.
there's
It's
so
no
much
longer true that you can hear, like, this sounds like the 70s, this sounds like the 80s.
Yeah, time period is kind of gone now.
People have learned to ape past time periods with their recording styles, too.
Yeah, and like you want to sound a certain way, so you try and make it. You know, if you if someone asked me like what the Desaparecidos like production, you know, level was at, I would be like, I don't know. I mean, it's muffled.
Yeah.
like that's my response.
It
You know
does,
what I mean?
it does.
It doesn't sound dated to me. It sounds muffled.
It sounds like a little bit of a damp room.
It's not Mike Mogus produced,
Yeah.
and that's obvious.
Any Conor Oberst recording that isn't it does sound
Sounds
surprisingly different. Like Salutations,
Yeah.
being produced by Jim Keltner, has a very different sound.
Yes.
And we'll get to that one later on.
But opportunity, no, it don't exist. It's the opiate of the populace. We need some harder shit now. The truth. What's the truth? What?
Truth's getting around.
Truth's getting around. Yeah, each public school is a halfway house where hollow masses sober up and up enough. It's not enough to fatten the cows and feed all of us. It's just a rationing of luck. What can't be bought gets raffled off. Oh God, good God, shed greed on me. It was amber, dirty green. Fucking off the shores of New Jersey.
You know, by the way, so one thing that I think is important to talk about for Desaparecidos before we get back to the politics of it is just that for the longest time, this was the only Desaparecidos album.
Yeah.
They were one and done.
Yeah.
And that was kind of part of the legend, too.
Yes, I
That
agree.
There was all this Bright Eyes music, but there were like 10 Desaparecidos songs total.
Yeah.
All there is. And so it was an interesting thing to come back to periodically after listening to Bright Eyes music all the time, to just keep going back to Desaparecidos and remembering, wow, same person.
Yeah.
Now, there's been a second Desaparecidos album, which is it's the thing that it is the closest to is it's Arrested Development Season 4. That's what it is. Sometimes you forget that it happened.
I actually have not. When we do Paola, like, it's going to be kind of a new experience for me because I've only heard it like a few times,
Yeah,
you know?
me too.
And I've never really I kind of like just put it on at work kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've really like sat down and given it a full listen. Maybe I'll love it.
It might be good, but I
Right.
feel like I listened to it once and my brain kind of went, no, I'm going to pretend I didn't do
G,
this.
F sharp, E minor, D.
Okay. Oh, yeah. One morning came and dressed the sky in a lovely yellow gown. And the shops they are all abiding in that narrow hallway of downtown, filled with people who are shopping for their lovers and their friends, saying they won't ever be lonely again.
Well, the forest fenced becomes backyards like songs are born from sound. And the apple fell and taught us all the chain here to the ground. And I said, here we go, but there ain't no escape. No, these streets are just dead ends. And I won't ever be happy again.
Do you follow First Aid Kit on Instagram?
Oh, yeah.
How fucking annoying are they on Instagram?
I don't think they're annoying.
They're fucking
They post a
wicked
lot.
annoying.
That's true.
They're wicked fucking annoying. So every time I see them, I'm like, ugh. I think I unfollowed them at this point.
Is this an episode of who'd you unfollow? What was it?
I think it was just unfollow.
Unfollow. Yeah, it was an episode of Unfollow.
Unfollow First Aid Kit because they're boring as fuck.
I like First Aid Kit. I think the tall one is really pretty, and I enjoy their content on Instagram. I don't check Instagram enough to get bombarded by their stuff.
And yeah, like everyone thinks the tall one is the pretty one. Duh.
Yeah.
The other one's ugly. No, I'm just kidding.
But they both have great voices. They're both very talented musicians.
they're great.
Now, listen, I
but-
have a person that I want to talk about just a spiritual unfollow, by the way.
Yeah.
I honestly, I feel so strongly about this that I almost wanted to start the episode with just me publicly disowning as much as I possibly could the cover of Farewell Transmission by Kevin Morby and Waxahachie that was all over the internet like a month ago, and it is the worst fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. And and literally retroactively made me dislike Waxahachie and Kevin Morby, both musicians that I like. That cover was so bad and so offensive to me. As you said, when I sent it to you, you said, well, they did find a way to ruin a perfect song. You gotta hand it to them. And it hurt me.
It was bad.
It was
what
so
did
bad.
they do wrong? Like, it was...
It
I'm
was
trying to remember
upbeat.
how it went.
It was upbeat and it was soulless and it had like very little instrumentation. They got some of the lyrics wrong. It was radically offensive to the memory of Jason Molina, and it was like they took that song out in the backyard and shot it. I was so hurt by this cover. And I don't like to say negative things on social media anymore because the only thing that can happen is that someone who really likes it will come and find you and get mad at you or like rat you out to the artist.
Yeah.
You know, those are the two possible things that'll happen. Nothing good comes of it.
Yeah.
Except maybe I could have warned people to not listen to it, which I will now say. If you are hearing this and you have not heard the Waxahachie Kevin Morby cover of Farewell Transmission, do not hear it. Do not subject yourself to it. It takes a little piece of your soul away from you.
It was not good. And when you sent it to me, I was like, how bad can it be?
No, it's bad.
It's not good.
It's really bad.
It's not good. So while we're on this topic of publicly disowning people,
Sure.
I'm just going to slowly wind up to this one and go, fuck Justin Timberlake.
Oh, it happened.
Oh my
It happened.
God.
We did it.
Fuck him so hard, so hard, so hard in the fucking face.
We got out ahead of making fun of the track list of Man of the Woods, by the way.
Oh my God.
A day or
Wait,
two after that our podcast came out, I saw a lot of jokes.
Really?
About flannel, etc.
Okay, well, first of all, that's like not even the worst part. Okay, so I thought that the Super Bowl performance was okay.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it at all?
No.
Okay, so there's a part where Prince shows up.
Not a hologram, though, right?
It's sort of a hologram.
That is not good.
Okay, well, wait. So first of all...
Little background here. Prince said that creating holograms of dead artists is demonic and that he never wanted that done to him.
So it's a big purple sheet comes down.
Uh-huh.
Or it's just a sheet.
Oh, like the U2 9/11 one?
No, more like it was tasteful. It was still bad. I'm not saying it wasn't bad, but it was tasteful. So it's a sheet that comes down. No, like during Prince's Super Bowl performance, you know how that sheet came down and it was like the purple light and like his silhouette? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what they did.
Okay.
So they did this big long sheet, but he does show up. It's not just a silhouette.
Okay.
They do the silhouette, I think. I can't remember. I've only seen it once. I think they do the silhouette, but they also have a big
projection
of him.
Okay.
He also performs
Purple Rain.
No. You're not going to guess
Snows
it.
in April.
No, you're not going to guess it
Let's go crazy.
because it's a good choice. What do you call it? I Would Die for You. So it was good, but it's also like, okay, well, Prince didn't like you, and just because you're in Minnesota doesn't mean you need to suck Prince's dick.
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
I don't know. Why didn't he do a Bob Dylan cover instead if he's Mr. Man of the Woods?
Yeah.
Why didn't he do Girl from the North Country?
And by the way,
yeah.
Bob Dylan is from Minnesota.
Yeah.
So anyway, is that why you were saying that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just
just pulling a random folky guy,
yeah.
Man of the Woods. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have done a Bonnie Iver cover.
Okay, here's the problem. He takes this album. It's called Man of the Woods. In his video, he's like making out with it. Did I talk about this last time? He's like making out with a chick.
Oh, he's a performer. They do that.
But he's married.
Yeah.
And he's like publicly. It'd be like Jay-Z making out with a different woman in his video.
Well, that would be a different context now because Jay-Z
okay,
Jay-Z is.
How about pick another huge musician? It'd be like Miley Cyrus making out with another dude other than the Hemsworth kid she's with.
I think those two probably have a pretty open relationship.
Okay, give me another example of this being bad. It's bad.
It'd be like Ted Danson making out with somebody other than Mary Steenburgen.
It would be like I don't know. It's just not fucking cool because it's like, dude, you're a fucking adult. He's like 40. Like, you know, like he should not be. We know you have a smoking hot super. I mean, I don't really think she's smoking hot, but whatever. Jessica Biel is like famous for being attractive.
That's mostly what she's famous for.
So why the fuck wouldn't you have her in your fucking video?
I don't know. Maybe she's like, I don't need to go to work with you. Find some fucking model.
Don't have it to begin with. I don't need to see Justin Timberlake making out with some fucking random chick for no reason. It happened in the middle of the Super Bowl performance too. I don't think he kissed her, but they like rub up against each other, and it's like fucking. You make an album called Man of the Woods, and then you follow it with like signature sneakers and like all this.
Not hiking boots?
No, they're like, and like flannels.
Yeah.
You turned it into a marketing thing.
Well, of course he did. What else is he going to do? He's Justin Timberlake.
Don't make an album about like getting away from it all and like it's not good. It's not fucking good. And like all of this would be forgivable if the album was good.
Right.
Have you heard the Chris Stapleton song?
I have not
him?
heard anything except for...
It's literally like 2 fucking lines over and over again. I can't even remember how it goes. It's just say something over and 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 over again.
Ah.
Okay? And it's like, okay, you guys write a song together, and they were like, okay, well, we could just...
They're like,
and
we
then the
gotta
chorus
say
goes,
something.
say something.
So we'll say something in the chorus.
And then they were like, okay, we're done. Let's go back with our smoking hot wives and keep living the rich guy life.
Who's Chris Stapleton's wife?
Hey, she's Martha Stapleton.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, you know, they're rich guys.
Right.
And they're pretending to be men of the woods.
Yeah.
And they're selling flannels and stupid condom cap hats.
Well, we knew this was...
Have you seen the hat that he's wearing through it all?
No.
He's like Pharrelling it, like where he's got a hat to go with the album.
Ah, okay.
It's so bad. It's awful. It's...
Well, fuck Justin Timberlake.
Yes, fuck him so hard.
It's come to this. We knew it was going to happen, but it did happen.
I like see his posts. I
knew it
still
was
follow
gonna happen,
him.
I guess.
I still follow him, and I see his posts, and I'm like, fuck you. Like, it's terrible.
So, is it worth briefly attempting to explain what the name Desparecidos is?
Oh my God, that's so funny you say that. All right, so this morning, I'm sitting around and I'm, preparing.
Sure.
And I start diving down the hole of like, well, should I like look at it?
Yeah.
Should I go down the hole of like some references that I could bring up when talking about it? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's no way I can make sense of what this is.
Uh-huh.
But I bet Zach's gonna have a little synopsis in his head.
What I know is that they were like, so the name Desaparecidos comes from like some South American political dissidents.
Yes.
Who were, rumor has it, basically kidnapped, put in helicopters, just like flown out into the ocean and just thrown out of the helicopter.
What I thought was interesting, I don't know if they're related, was this thing called the Rome Statute was put in place, and it's like the international law for that makes forced disappearance like illegal.
Right.
Was ratified in 2002.
Interesting.
So I was like, that's weird. Like, I wonder if they like heard about it on the news or something and were like, oh, that's a good name. Or if they like had
maybe it had been
legitimately
an
heard
issue.
knew the story. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it had been in the news the previous year. Because obviously Desaparecidos has been around for a bit before this album came out in February 2002.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, it's kind of it's a fairly brutal name, when you think about what they're referencing. Obviously, they're referencing it not because they're in favor of it.
And it wasn't like it was just the name. I mean, the T-shirt that you had, and
Yeah.
I actually bought a new version of like years later.
Yeah.
I have a Desaparecido shirt.
It's an awesome T-shirt. But
it is.
It's a depiction of someone being thrown from a helicopter.
Right. And it's like, but it's not obvious. It
Right.
looks like a sunset, like on a beach.
Yes.
But when you look at it, yeah, close, it's a dude falling from a helicopter.
Yeah.
So it's an awesome T-shirt and an awesome name for a band.
So this is the beginning of like seeing Conor Oberst as a political musician, obviously,
true.
because, I mean, he gets into it on Lifted, he gets into it on every album later, but really does not make comments about politics in Fevers and Mirrors or anything before that.
No.
So I don't want to characterize this as necessarily like the time that he was becoming politically active, but it's more like the time that he figured out how to work it into music.
I think putting politics into music has to be done right, or it comes off as hokey.
Sure. Speaking of that, by the way, so for a segment for another episode of the podcast I ended up not doing, I was reading an old Pitchfork review of The Ugly Organ, and they favorably compared The Ugly Organ to the Desaparecidos because they were like, you know, it's like that kind of hard rock, but without the ninth graders' geopolitical understanding or something. And as usual, I was upset by that.
Yeah,
everything
of
Pitchfork
course you
does.
were. That's
But the thing is,
upsetting.
Truthfully, there's nothing juvenile really about the politics of Desaparecidos. Their politics are fairly extreme. You know, they're against commercialism, they're against suburban sprawl, they're against I just wanted to stand up for broad strokes, politically speaking. You know, I don't know if I've actually mentioned ever on the podcast before, in college, the time that my poetry professor made fun of me. She stood up on her desk pretending she was standing on a soapbox, and she said, "Rich people are bad, poor people are good." And she was saying like that was what all my poems were about, and that I was stupid for basically saying that kind of thing. And 10 years later, I still think I'm right.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything,
right.
and I don't think there's anything wrong with with painting with that bold of a brush, basically. And I think that this idea that people, when they talk about like, oh, well, it's more complicated than that, characterizing politics as being more complicated than whatever the other person says is it's a way of copping out, basically. Mm-hmm. Acting like everything is so complicated is a way of getting out of being involved.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the way I've always felt that is it's a self-defeating on purpose posture. I was tweeting sort of cryptically about, I saw someone shared an article that was like, would the victims of the Parkland shooting have stood up for the students of Philadelphia? I don't think so.
Oh my
or something.
God.
And it
what?
was like about how the kids from Parkland would not support like inner city kids in their attempt to stop.
Bullshit.
And it's like, first of all, I love that there's somebody out there, there's some fucking blog editor who's like, hey, is there any way that you can is there a liberal way to attack these teenagers who are advocating for gun control, you know? And but I just but more than anything, it's a way to get out of caring about anything. It's a way of going, yeah, you know, well, these kids in Parkland, the shit they're doing that's not good either. That's also not pure enough for me. It is itself the same kind of like absolutist dogmatic way that people are like, oh yeah, rich people are, yeah, you and you're like, rich people are bad, poor people are good bullshit. But your thing of, you know, nobody's good enough, nothing is right enough, everything's too complicated, that is not you, the royal you.
Yeah.
The people that advocate this position that everything's too complicated to care about. I don't know how you're wrong, but you're definitely wrong. That's the position, and it's stupid, and I hate it, and I love being people that are passionate, and I love the passion of the music in Desaparecidos, even when he's like singing somewhat corny things like dress dead bodies up in tight designer jeans.
Dress dead bodies up in tight designer jeans.
I just kind of chalked that up to him being young too.
Sure, but that's fine. Like,
yeah, it is.
I don't think there's nothing to be ashamed of in that kind of like youthful political anger. That's what we need. We need young people who care about things. We have young people who care about things right now with these Parkland teenagers, and it's scaring the shit out of everyone, you know?
Yeah.
All of these conservative old fucks who are like doing everything they can, you know, Donald Trump Jr. is getting divorced by his wife because he's on Twitter being like, I think they're actors, you know, and she's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I know.
Vanessa Trump, God go with you, Vanessa Trump.
Yeah, seriously.
And
but also, by the way, if that is what takes you to leave him, then you've already done something wrong. So
politically, I guess just what I wanted to say was that if anyone who's listening to this starts listening to Desaparecidos and if they feel like the urge to make fun of or criticize or actually the politics of this album, think twice about why you're doing it. Think twice about what drives you to actually this stuff. Don't
and
do that.
By the way, capitalism is bad, and rich people are bad, and poor people are good. So,
Now, by the way, me writing that poetry in college was entirely due to listening to Desideratidos when I was 15 years old.
Right?
I mean, we're going to talk about it, but this album, I think, really informed a lot of my political consciousness and also taught me the word agoraphobic.
Okay. So, I guess let's get into it. It's a short album.
Yeah, it's a short album, so we
It's
should
like 30,
definitely
it's like 30 minutes long.
we should definitely get into it. So
We're going to spend 2 hours talking about a 30-minute album.
the album starts with Man, Wife, the Former, Financial Planning.
I like a man that has money, that has goals in life.
The first note that I wrote in my phone was, what if David Byrne was very angry? Because it has lyrically, it has the perspective of a kind of David Byrne thing, but it's mad. And it starts with this kind of, the clips at the beginning, the sample is kind of funny. They're asking women what they look for in a man, and they all, one of the first three things they all mention is money, basically.
Yeah. Now, I have always kind of listened to that intro and almost, I've never actually like sat down and addressed it, what I think of that line.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, isn't that fucking horrible that we do that to people? Like, where money is the most important thing?
What are you saying that's bad? You saying it's bad to judge people who care about money, or it's bad to care about money?
Well, both. Because it's like, the comment is that like the women are shallow,
Sure.
right?
I think, but
Is that how you took it?
I don't know.
At least in your youth?
I think that I took in my youth, I think I probably took it that way. As an adult, I think I take it more as the song is about a man's financial insecurity warping the rest of his personality. And so the women who are talking at the beginning are almost the way the man who's narrating the song sees the women. He thinks women care about money. He is so motivated to make money, and there's in two songs on this album we kind of see this marriage from both perspectives. And in both cases, it's like they think the other one cares about money more than they do, and it warps them beyond recognition to they no longer remember what they're like.
Okay, sure.
Oh well, because this is the one that goes remember we wanted that. That's the line.
Yeah.
So it's like once we've worked ourselves half to death to get a house we can't afford, and we're buried in shopping bags and everything else. Remember, we wanted that.
Yeah. I
And
don't
you
know.
probably never really wanted it in the first place. You just think that you did.
Right. Well, and we know that I'm not claiming a money buys happiness thing. And I don't want to sound like I do, but like I concern myself with money a lot.
Yeah.
And it's because, with working in kitchens, there are times of the year where you're rolling in dough, and there's times of the year where you're not. Wouldn't you would be more concerned if there was any sort of real instability with you, because you now have like a kid and everything.
Yeah.
But the issue is that like we just breed this into our people, where they're like, you need money, or if you're a woman, you need to find a man that's going to be able to provide for you. It's not the women's fault that they think that money is the most important thing. It's society's fault that money is the most important thing.
But I do think the guy in this song harbors like the first lyrics of the song are, "It's night, but I can't stay asleep, but you do, straight through till morning." Mm-hmm. And so the whole idea is that this guy is anxious and worried, and basically one of the many strains. There's a lot happening in Man, Wife, the Former and Man, Wife, the Latter.
Right.
But one thing that's happening is this resentment toward his wife is building in him, and it's not necessarily when you hear from the wife later on in the album, none of it was necessarily there.
Right.
You know, he was imagining in his head that she
Right.
cared about money more. And so I think that there is a way in which this whole song could be taken as like a MRA anthem or something, but I think it's actually intended to reflect the narrator's misogyny more than it is actually misogynistic. There's a lot to parse, I guess. And I don't know, maybe I think actually a lot of what we're thinking about this song is informed by the later song, because
Yeah.
this song is a pretty straightforward economic anxiety rocker, but I guess
Sure.
it's colored by that
Sure.
clip. It's colored by the sample quite a bit. The sample at the beginning of the song definitely
Sets
informs
a
the way
tone
you
a
listen
little
to
bit.
it.
But
Yeah.
also, I think that's also just the way that I'm analyzing that piece. You know, I've never really gone this deep down the rabbit hole.
Christy was talking this morning. We were listening to the album again as that sample's fading out, and they're like, "Money, you know, has
Yeah.
money, blah blah blah," and the guitars come in with that, dun 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 dun, and you're so excited right away.
Yeah.
And if you've never heard Desaparecidos before, you're like, "Whoa, what the hell?"
Yeah.
Because you're like, I expected a little harp and a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
flute and whatever, and suddenly it's just like, dun 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 dun.
That's interesting that, the first thing you hear is a sample, and that's like a regular way for Conor Oberst to open an album.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
But
a
you don't
good point.
expect it to be this, and it's a really great, like, it's got some great hooks in that song, like the sold some shit I'm saving up for the extra hours you picked up.
I love the throughout the whole album, like the guitar-driven melody stuff.
Yeah.
Like how closely intertwined the melody and the lead guitar are.
Yeah.
They're like both the most important things there throughout
Yeah.
the whole album.
And the throughout the keyboard, the synthesizer stuff is like often very sort of like apocalyptic, you know, like it always sounds like missiles or something.
Yeah. Well, and it's just, it's just awesome intro track. It's an awesome way to open up the album, and it lets you know pretty quick what you're in for.
Yeah, it's true.
If you don't like the first song, you're not going to like the rest of the album, because I will say that with the 9 tracks, I like that it's shorter because it does kind of all blend together.
Especially toward the end.
Yes.
A couple of songs toward the end, I have a hard time distinguishing which one is which based on their titles, and it's part because they have fairly vague titles.
Yeah, they all kind of do.
Although maybe the standout and most distinguished, like the title that's most different is Mañana, which is the second song, and that's the one that I think, that's consistently the number one Desaparecidos Spotify song, by the way.
It's, by the way, amazing.
Yeah.
Mañana is the shit.
Yeah, Mañana is like probably my favorite Desaparecidos song.
Me too.
Yeah. There's something also very satisfying about a song that starts with a count in that everyone like screams.
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's great. That is great. The way that it moves, it's not the time signature, really, right?
It's like 6/8.
Yeah, it is the 6/8 time signature. That's what's so great about
Yeah.
it. It's like that driving,
It's kind of like driving but swinging.
Yeah.
It's like lurching is what I would describe the way
and
that
that
song
guitar
feels.
stuff where it's like, doo, 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 doo.
Yeah.
That's dude. It's all right there. It's
Yeah.
everything about it is right there.
And the I don't even, the lyrics to that song are kind of vague in my head. I'm just like,
I was pulling them up because
final offer.
I was thinking the same
It's
thing.
a fight song.
There's something really satisfying about listening to a band where it's like not always important what he's singing. You know, like, so it's what you learned, what you read in their books, all they offered, what you saw when they told you to look, a final offer.
Yeah.
Like it's just got the right vibe.
To me, that song sounds like it's the motivating one. So this album is a lot about like, oh, we're all fucked. You know, money, capitalism and money and the military-industrial complex and greed have destroyed the world. But this song is like, all right, let's go out there and fuck some shit up then. Like,
And,
let's throw some Molotov cocktails at some fucking government buildings.
There's lots of really good lead-ups in this song. Dun, 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 dun. The final offer. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
How's that part go?
The kind of like that. That's the part that to me sounds like a missile launch or something is about to happen. Like it's,
yeah.
Well, today we are giving birth to a new future.
you
Yeah.
almost expect it to be like a old like a NASA like 5,
Yeah.
4, 3, 2,
Yeah,
1
yeah.
in the background of that part. Bow, bow, bow. So I feel like if anyone ever were to ask me what the Desaparecidos sound like, even though Manana is maybe not the most accurate version of what they always sound like, I would send that to them to give them the most extreme example.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
This is what Desaparecidos sounds like at their peak, you know? Like, if I was going to send them, what do they sound like normally? I might send them, like, survival of the fittest, it's a jungle out there or something. It's because it's like a mid-level line or whatever, you know? It's like the most normal sounding Desaparecidos song.
Survival of the Fittest is like fucking unlistenable.
It's not a great
It's
song.
fucking garbage.
It's the weakest track of the 9, but I think it has some nice parts to it.
I disagree.
Well, we'll get there. I want to talk about the clip at the end of Manana that leads into Greater Omaha.
Which one is that?
It's Connor Oberst and I believe Denver Daly talking
right.
about coffee shops.
Yes.
I just
That's
wanted
a
to say that
hilarious conversation.
that conversation is every conversation I've ever had with Jory in my whole life. I'm Connor Oberst and Jory's Denver Daly. And I am bemoaning that there's a Starbucks on every corner and he's like, no, I think it's good. Even though he doesn't really.
I think they're smoking weed.
Or smoking cigarettes. There's definitely an
The way that
inhaling sound.
The way that they're talking is like they're as a weed smoker.
Sure.
I like the way that they're talking. It sounds like every conversation I've had when smoking a bowl with someone. It's like they're talking like this at times, like
Yeah,
because
sure.
they're holding in a hit.
Maybe that's true. Yeah, but it's funny.
So
And I don't
sitting
know.
there talking about the local shop.
Yeah, they're talking about like how chain stores are squeezing out their local businesses, and Connor Oberst is talking about like a coffee shop that's going out of business or has gone out of business, and Denver Daly is saying he doesn't care and that he likes the like nice comforting chain stores or whatever, which comes back lyrically later on.
And it's just a great. It's just on topic and great. It's a great bit.
I was wondering if it's
All
real.
the bits are great.
I was wondering if it's real.
I always wonder if everything that he puts in albums, if they're real. You know?
Yeah, because how is it real? How does that conversation end up being recorded? Was somebody recording them because maybe they were going to do a documentary about making the album they just never used or something? I'm just trying to conceive of the circumstances.
I think that a lot of people would say that about you.
Which parts of what I'm recording are real and which parts are fake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would almost say that about you more than Connor Oberst.
Sure.
So
There's been times when I've had to re-record things for the podcast, and I've made references to things that were going to happen that by that point had already happened.
Right.
Because I had to re-record
Right.
it, and I was like, "This, I'm playing it fast and loose with the rules of documentary."
I like that though.
I think the other funny thing about the podcast that I struggle with, but there's no other way to do it, is that every podcast of mine takes so long to make that it actually ends up incorporating a variety of perspectives. So it's not about like, here's how I felt today. It's like, here's how I felt about something over the course of 6 months.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of. I think that's part of the.
Temporal compression, I guess,
Yeah,
is what I would
yeah.
refer to it as.
So, all right. So I wonder about all of his little bits, whether they're fake or not. Or, I mean, this one feels the most real almost.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't feel fake. That's why I think about it. I'm like, how did it happen?
Well, and maybe they had been sitting there talking, and he was like, this is the perfect type of thing.
Yeah.
Or he was like, let's sit down. I'm going to record us, and we're going to talk about the stores coming in or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So, or capitalism in general, and they get to the point where they're talking about their own hometown, and
Yeah.
it's just one clip of it. But it's it's just great.
And it's a great intro for the next song, which is I would say is another standout song.
Yes, I agree.
Greater Omaha.
Yeah.
Out west and moving dirt to make a greater Omaha. Another franchise sold, so there's even more restaurants per capita.
So Greater Omaha is a song specifically about suburban sprawl, basically, and chain stores, and the way it's specifically destroying how, in Connor Oberst's eyes, his city.
Yeah.
So we grew up in a small touristy town,
Yeah.
a town that very specifically guarded against chain stores in the city limits, basically.
There was there are 2 chains in Wolfboro.
Yeah.
One is Rite Aid, which
Yeah.
actually, by the way, is now being changed to a Walgreens.
Really
Yeah, Walgreens bought out a bunch of Rite Aid stores.
interesting.
So
So are people going to change their Rite Aid Wrong Town stickers?
That's
to,
what I was gonna say, was
Walgreens
when-
more like Wall Gone?
when Rite Aid came into town, people got bumper stickers that said "Rite Aid, Wrong Town," which I
And-
thought was maybe the best protest sticker of all time.
Their position was that Rite Aid was going to squeeze out local pharmacists, and it did.
It did. That's true.
The local pharmacy became like a shipping store, basically.
Yeah.
So it happened. And so I had, unlike most of the other geopolitical stuff on this album, I had an immediate point of reference for all of this, which is why this song like stuck out to me immediately. I was like, I get it,
Yeah.
you know? And what's funny was, you know, as a teenager, you're like, why the fuck can't we get a McDonald's? You know, like,
Yeah, we had that opinion.
yeah,
When
it's
we
like-
were young.
but it's different because you are like you're rebelling against whatever the power structure is. And
Yeah.
so in our case, the power structure was the old people who didn't want chain stores
Right.
interfering with the folksy mystique of Wolfboro.
Right.
So our position at the time was, yeah, fuck that. Let's get some McDonald's and
yeah.
get some chain
Well,
stores.
and there's a Rite Aid and there's a Dunkin' Donuts. Of course there's a Dunkin' Donuts.
the Dunkin' Donuts met with very little protest when it came in.
I know. Well, it's because there's like no good coffee shops in Wolfboro.
And it's
now
a
they
New
have risen up.
Englandy chain.
Now now they have risen up, and there's like a few good coffee shops around. But like when we were kids, it was nothing. you
Yeah.
know? And so
There were
that was-
diners. That was it.
well, and they you know that where they scowled at you when you walked in because you were two little kids. You know
Right.
what I mean?
So I spent, probably a full year of my life at that Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, yeah.
I was there all the time.
Yeah, it's like it ends up as like the kids hangout in town, which is, now being an adult, you're like, this place is fucking awful.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know? It's so funny how like when you're a kid, your opinions of things could not be more like wrong as to like what society is like when it's like you turn 21 or 22 somewhere in there and you're like, oh, being an adult is like completely different from being a kid, and also like your opinions of everything is wrong.
I think the truth is that your opinions basically stay the same, but the world, or at least in my case, my opinions stayed the same, but the world of circumstance around them changed. So, I was always like, fight the power, fuck the man. But the power and the man were very different when I was 15 years old and
Yes.
living in a small town in Wolfboro.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and it started to change around the time that George Bush became president, around the time that I started to listen to music like Desaparecidos and everything. And maybe had I stopped to consider it, would have led me to believe that I was wrong for thinking there should be a McDonald's in Wolfboro,
Yeah.
Because it was becoming incoherent with my worldview. Greater Omaha it's kind of funny. That's another thing that I'd
Yeah.
like to say about like when he's complaining about restaurants. He says, like, they've all got to drive through. Yeah, who's got time to dine? Though the floors are clean, the color scheme, it compliments me every time. Which just, by the way, just like rhythmically is a great
Yeah.
line.
All the floors are clean, the color scheme, it compliments me every time.
It's almost like rap. The color scheme, it compliments me every time.
Yeah.
That's such a great line. But it's funny. And I think that's another reason that it grabbed me right away, was that just like the conversation with Conor Oberst and Denver Daly beforehand, it's kind of like, it's not as apocalyptically angry as some of the other songs. It's a
Right.
little more like, it's going after the problem with humor rather
Yes.
than
Yes.
anger. And that was big for me as like that was an early song for me to really latch onto, just because also it's really great rhythmically. It's got that dun-dun-dun-dun-dun,
Right.
dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And the drums like great drums.
Yes. Agreed.
The opening line of that song is so great.
Well, traffic's kinda bad. The widening easy street to fit more SUVs, to plant baby trees, to grow to shady peaks.
The whole thing is like a Most Def
it
song.
is. It is. It's
These
true.
are like Most Def lyrics.
That's true, man. He's just got a way of writing.
I've been listening a lot to the West Wing Weekly, and I realized that a major component to the people that I really look up to is just having a particular way with words, not to say anything in particular, but just having a way of a musical phrasing. So Aaron Sorkin is such a great writer at just even writing like bullshit chatter, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's true that there are moments in The West Wing that are wonderful and beautiful, but there's also moments that are just like people talking about nothing that
Yeah.
are great. And Connor Oberst is also great at evoking feeling and great at writing specific words, but sometimes just the rhythm and order of the words that he writes and the particular words that he uses are just pleasurable in and of themselves.
Yeah.
He can use words like artists use paint or whatever, you know? It's like he can use them in every way. And I have always really loved that and admired that in him and in Aaron Sorkin, and there's a reason that I look up to both of them so much.
I like in Greater Omaha when he's talking about one more mouthful.
Yeah.
Like that whole
One more
bit-
mouthful and we'll be happy then.
Yeah, like the whole bit about like just like that can be taken a lot of different ways.
Sure.
But just something about that phrase is just great, you know?
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Okay.
Man, wife, the ladder.
So this is a funny
Damaged
thing.
goods.
This is a funny album structurally.
Yeah.
Where we start out with this marriage, and then halfway through the album, we check back in.
Yeah.
We don't come back again.
No.
It's not, we don't hear about like their child or something
no,
later on.
no.
It's just this pair of songs. And this is probably musically the most different song on the album. It starts out in a more gentle kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, the guitars are clean,
Yep.
you know, and it's a different sound. And it has this, I don't know, something in Connor Oberst's voice. It's closer to a Bright Eyes song than I guess the other ones are. But like that, he's singing from the perspective of the wife.
I was gonna say it's a lot about how it's written too.
Yeah.
That makes it be more of a Bright Eyes kind of song.
Yeah,
You know?
and
It's-
eventually it lifts off to Desaparecidos heights. But it starts out like I'm growing out my hair like it was when I was single. It was longer.
it was longer than I known you.
I had no money then, I had no worries then at all. Such a high standard of living, I just feel like I am dying.
But at this point, it seems like the couple in the song are like divorced or getting divorced. You know, you say you want to change. I got a letter from a lawyer. You want
Yep.
to take me out to dinner.
Yep.
You know, and the line I always remember from the song is, "It reads just like a Bible, 20 centuries of scandal."
Yet all depends on you and John Brady.
He's just a really smart guy.
There's always good reason for your silence. You have to take care of some business. So I fix your plate and I stay out of the way. And you'll stay like that forever, right in front of your computer. You'll look up one day, but you won't recognize me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at what look at what he's talking about there. When he says you're looking down at your computer, like, could it be any more about today?
Yeah.
Look at us with our phones in our hands.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true. I also love the most cryptic lyrics of the song, which are, the word is love, the word is loss, the words are damaged goods. Which are
God.
like screamed in the
Oh,
song.
man.
Yeah. And it's got that like that great swinging synth part that's like, the
Yeah.
word is loss. Yeah.
That's like maybe the most Bright Eyes-y movement too. Like as far as like arranging and everything
Yeah.
like that is concerned, you can hear Bright Eyes instruments doing
Yeah.
that part.
I wonder if he ever did. Like, I've seen him as Connor Oberst do like folky arrangements of Digital Ash songs.
Sure.
So I wonder if he ever performed any like Bright Eyes-y versions of Desaparecidos songs.
Because that would be interesting for sure.
And he lets his voice off the chain so much more here on this album than he ever does.
It's
as
so
Bright Eyes.
satisfying too.
Yeah.
Because like that's half the time in Bright Eyes, you're like, just give me that.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Just
give
go
me that.
crazy,
Give me-
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that jacket off and go crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's nice that he's going crazy for basically an entire album.
yeah. And it is a very satisfying listen when you're like, it does the same thing that all, like, you know, Titus Andronicus, like all like Driving Force music does, you know?
Yeah.
Like really just like, it's just ass kicking music.
I would posit, by the way, that this album literally created Titus Andronicus.
Yeah, for sure.
Right down to the samples. you
Yeah,
know?
pretty much.
Titus Andronicus very heavily uses samples, which is not to say that Desaparecidos own the idea of using samples in songs. Like, first of all, everybody should do it. It's great, you know? And obviously rap was doing it too and everything.
Yeah.
But just Patrick Stickles initially sounds in early Titus Andronicus songs, sounds like he's basically doing Desaparecidos.
Well, and when I heard them initially years and years and years and years ago at this point, I was like, so it's Desaparecidos.
Yeah.
Like, very much like when years and years and years and years ago, I heard The National and I said, so they're Tim Kasher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my reaction was in both cases was not great initially because I was like, these Saddle Creek bands invented this shit. And
Right.
now you guys are going to get famous off of it? It's fucking bullshit. I very much had that reaction in The National.
Yeah.
And Titus Andronicus at first. I was like,
Where actually-
Conor Oberst invented this fucking 10 years ago, dude.
And speaking of Titus Andronicus, let's talk your release radar. Yeah. Did you like last time I used I Shall Be Released?
Yeah. I love that.
I tweeted a long time ago. I was thinking it was a fairly cryptic tweet, and I was like, no big deal. I can explain it on the podcast. That was fucking forever ago. Was that I was saying that 2018 was already a better year than 2017, and I'm basing that on two songs. The two songs I was talking about at the time were Above the Bodega, Local Business, and the Hop Along song, How Simple. Both great songs.
Yes.
But now, the Hop Along album is still a blip on the radar. It's coming in later. But A Productive Cough has been released, so we can talk about it. Titus Andronicus, new album, 7 songs?
Yeah.
7 longer songs. Some say a radical departure for Titus Andronicus, but
I don't think
it doesn't
so.
feel that radical to me.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's just that they're progressing.
Yeah, and I mean,
This is what we look for in a band.
there's radical stuff on The Most Lamentable Tragedy, too.
And,
So,
well, and I mean, I think that Local Business is the album Local Business is so weird that they can pretty much do whatever they want. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, in my mind,
they can pretty much do whatever they want, and they did.
yeah, which is cool. It's cool to have a creative band that's
Yeah.
that's killing it, you know?
I think we would both say that Real Talk is probably our standout favorite track so far from A Productive Cough, right?
Yeah, and it's so different from what they're doing, but it fits so well.
In the hands of any other band, it would almost seem a little goofy, but it just seems fun.
See, that's okay. They are a goofy band.
Yeah.
They are. They got a song called "Food Fight" that's literally just them screaming "Food Fight" over
That's
and
true.
over again.
Yeah.
You know, they are the Electric Man.
Yeah.
You know, like stuff
I know.
like that.
When we saw them live and he played I Am the Electric Man, he does like the goofiest like dance throughout the whole song, and he's like strutting and like posing and
Awesome.
everything.
I am the electric man. Fellas, he is the electric man. That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's very fun.
They're a fun band, and just because Patrick Stickles is a pretty serious dude, like half the time, you know, doesn't mean that they can't.
Kick back and let loose.
They're just Like, I feel like Patrick Stickles is very. I haven't seen him live. I feel like he's a serious dude.
The
you
funny
know?
thing about it is, so I read an interview with him where he literally cited, and we have had direct experience with this, like bad behavior in the audience at Titus Andronicus shows as the reason for doing an album and a tour that's a little more stripped down and less focused on big, loud, raging songs. And it's literally his frustration with that. And what's funny is in the interview they talk about how Patrick Stickles gives this speech at most shows about like respecting each other's space and everything. And I will say, when I saw him do that at the press room, the way he talks, he has this kind of sneer in his voice. I honestly think most of the people in the crowd took it as a joke. When he was saying like, be mindful of everyone else's space and everything, I literally think the guys who then proceeded to shove us around for 2 hours took that as, haha, safe spaces. Yeah, let's fucking kick ass. You know?
Yeah.
And I just wonder if that's, like, has no one ever said that to Patrick Stickles? Like, you know, maybe people think you're being sarcastic.
Yeah.
As a person who is often mistaken for being sarcastic,
Yeah.
I thought maybe I'm extraordinarily sensitive to this.
Yeah.
But I thought, funny, like this, not that I want this album to have been avoided, but this all could have been avoided.
Well, and like, you know, he's not doing the Billy Corgan stop the song and fucking scream at people about it, you know?
He did get upset at people at that first time I saw him because someone knocked his microphone over and hit him in the face.
Yeah,
and
it would be too.
Yeah, he got upset about that. But again, it was like hard to determine, even for me, how much he was really telling people to knock it off
Yeah.
and how much he was kind of,
Playing it up.
yeah.
You know, on the topic, I don't know why it made me think of this. On the topic of like bad audiences, we
Yeah.
saw the Avett Brothers at UNH.
Yes.
Didn't you go to that show with us?
We did, yeah.
Do you remember they had a bad audience that night? They were like fucking loud and shit.
Yeah, well, I think Christy and I retreated back to the stadium seats
You did.
a few songs in.
That's right. You
Yes.
did. Why?
It sounded better.
So at one point, somebody hucked a pencil at Seth.
Ah.
And he dodged it like he was in the Matrix. It was crazy.
Like George Bush dodging
It was
those
like-
shoes.
Yeah, it was like he was used to it or something. Where he was like, I'm looking for that. Like
Yeah.
I expected it. George W. Bush dodging the shoes, man, that was funny.
Man, it was amazing.
And his reaction too
Yeah.
is really funny. He's like happy with himself. Like,
Yeah, that was my that was his one presidential moment when he
Yeah.
ducked those shoes.
Yeah. What a funny guy. I saw Bernie. I follow like a Bernie Instagram. It's not like Bernie Sanders itself, but it's something. And it posted a picture of George W. Bush, and he was like, George W. Bush had been doing like the morning shows and stuff that week, and he was like, just a reminder that George W. Bush is a war criminal and deserves to be in jail. Like everybody likes to forget that now that we have Donald Trump as president.
And because it's been a long time, and because, you know, we remember Will Ferrell playing him before more than we remember him or something. There's a
We
lot
remember
of
his funny parts too,
Yeah.
a lot more than like, you know, the fact that he was this terrible guy.
Also, speaking of Desaparecidos, hating George Bush became gradually fashionable.
Yeah, and it wasn't when Conor Oberst was doing it.
When Conor Oberst was very publicly do shit. So I just watched recently, I was thinking about this when we were talking about the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I just found an old video of Conor Oberst performing on Craig Kilborn's late night show, which I sent you. I don't know if you ever ended up getting to watch it or not, but they play at the bottom of
I did
everything.
not.
Yeah. They play at the bottom of everything before it was called at the bottom of everything.
Yeah.
And Conor Oberst does my new favorite count in ever, which is he says he counts in 1, 2, 1, 6, 6, 6,
Yeah.
that's how I'm gonna count in every song I can for the rest of my life. 1, 6, 6, 6.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, and he took his 10 seconds before the song started to publicly bash George Bush and Arnold Schwarzenegger back then. And this would have been around Desaparecido's time. Would have been around 2002.
I'll go into it. All right. You can make our plan, carve it into stone, like a feather fall. It is still unknown until the clock speaks up, says it's time to go. You can choose the high or the lower road. You might clench your fist, you might fork your tongue as you curse or praise all the things you've done. finally unwind. It's a black balloon. It's a dream you'll soon deny. We hit on your release radar.
Speaking of caricatures of patriotism and political nightmares, the next song is Mall of America. So Mall of America has maybe the best opening line. They say it's murder on your folk career to make a rock record with the Disappeared. Mm-hmm. Which is very fun.
Very cool. I always love whenever there's a reference to. I always think of like, cursive is so cool on that cursive track. I like when they it's a weird thing that does actually happen a lot.
Yeah.
When they reference
their own band.
Their own band. Yes. Brand new. When he says like, this is the way that you wish your voice sounds.
Right.
I like all that stuff.
Speaking of which, somebody on Twitter was asking me how I felt about like the sort of like abuse questions about Jesse Lacey. And I tried to articulate basically my uncomfortability with being the moral police under any circumstances.
You said something that I really attached to, which is you said, I don't know if it was necessarily on this or it was just on the topic at a different time, but you said, I'm always uncomfortable with public shaming.
Yeah, that's true. I'm always uncomfortable with public shaming. I have never liked the morality police, even though now the morality police agree with me. I still don't like the morality police. And so I feel weird about it. But I told him the truth, which was that I haven't listened to Brand New Sense.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't really know what to say about that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like, I feel uncomfortable with the whole thing, but that doesn't mean that I think what Jesse Lacey did was right. Obviously, I don't.
The question that you were posed was, do you listen to their art? Or can you listen to the art without getting past it?
I can't even remember the specific question because I feel like part of the question was an invitation to what's the word I'm thinking of? Like to disavow Jesse Lacey.
I agree, actually. I thought that was kind of their point,
and
too.
I feel like the thing is, it's like, it doesn't matter. That's part, I guess, my uncomfortability, how do you say that word? The way that I feel uncomfortable with internet lynch mobs, basically, is actually a separate issue.
Yeah.
And it's just that they are running parallel to each other now.
When you either wrote or said, I don't remember when you said it. I don't know if it was that same Twitter thing where you said like I've always been uncomfortable with public shaming. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly how I feel. Like I just like no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah. And I just feel like when it happens now, when a celebrity gets outed for doing a bad thing, the other celebrities are then judged for their response. And people say, oh, look at this guy. That's how you be an ally. This guy put out a statement in support of the victim, blah, blah, blah. This person didn't. And I just feel like I don't like that part where, so a person did a bad thing, gets outed for doing a bad thing. Good. That part's good.
Yeah.
Everyone goes around finding everyone who's somewhat related to that celebrity, asking them to, like, do you disavow, this person, and then judging their response.
Yeah.
That part sucks.
Yeah.
And that part is, I didn't like it when they did it to Obama in 2008 when they were like, do you disavow Farrakhan and all that shit, Well,
and the pastor that he was involved with.
Yeah, Jeremiah Wright.
Yeah, like all that stuff was never good. Okay, and
Bill Ayers.
And then, did you follow the Jon Stewart storyline through the Louis C.K. thing?
No.
Okay, Jon Stewart is on the Axe Files with David Axelrod at a school like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, whatever. Guy comes up and says, have you heard I think it was Gawker maybe? Mm-hmm. Have you heard the line out of this comedian? How do you feel about, you've worked with Louis C.K., how do you feel about these allegations that are coming out? And Jon Stewart completely writes him off because it's not anything he was familiar with, and it was not any story to him. And in his mind, some random dude at some college is making wild accusations about Louis C.K.
Yeah.
And so he says, like, I'm not familiar with the article, but that just sounds like nonsense to me. I've never heard anything like that. And then people jumped on him because it was like, not only did he deny it, his friend that I'm sure he had heard these rumors, but he ridicules the person accusing him of it. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but that's not the thing. He heard a line about his friend and
Yeah.
was like, that sounds like nonsense to me.
But
You know
more
what I mean?
importantly, like, it wasn't Jon Stewart's dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just feel like the idea that celebrities now probably have like PR coaches who teach them, here's what you say when someone who's close to you is outed as an abuser, isn't any better.
No.
Like, that part isn't, we're not in a better world because of that part. We're not in a better world where you can score points by being really good at talking about abuse or not,
Yeah.
And I guess it's good that the internet has inverted power structures. And it's good that this wave of support for women who would have previously been shut out is continuing.
Right.
And has not been hurt by false accusations, weird accusations, somewhat shadily organized, the whole Aziz Ansari thing where like it was actually the magazine that went to the woman, not the woman who came to the magazine. That type of thing.
Right.
That hasn't slowed it down.
Right.
That's all good.
Yeah.
But the bad part is that the clickbaitification of it all is not leading to a more authentic conversation about abuse and about power and everything.
Right.
It's just leading to making it a spectator sport.
Well, I mean, I think it also, this part in America right now is like, of course, this type of thing is happening now too. Right.
This is happening because Donald Trump got elected president.
Yeah, it is.
And that's good.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do anything about the abuser in chief. So we're going to do something about every other abuser.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I just think that the problem is social media is no longer a place to have an honest conversation. And that's what you need. So
Yeah. I mean, social media is, its own plague on itself. Like, there's a lot of terrible things that stem out of it, and this is one of them.
And surprisingly, there's no, other than like we were saying, references in Man, Wife, the Ladder, there's no references to social media really, even in newer Desaparecidos songs. It's funny.
It's because Conor Oberst has removed himself from all of those
That's true. He
things.
doesn't know what the hell it is.
Yeah.
It's true. He was on Phoebe Bridgers' like Instagram story one time, and I was like, the reason that this happens is because he doesn't even know what you're doing.
Yeah, he's never even heard of that, which is so weird. He's just a weird guy, man. It's like I don't understand you, dude.
He's probably like the youngest person whose record label tweets on his behalf.
Can I? Yeah, I know.
Lie down with the common sound. I'm gonna bury my blues so it's never found. Gonna learn to pay attention to the television sets.
Can I just point out? I don't know if these are after the fact numbers.
Okay.
I think that they are they're original reviews because I don't think there's been a re-release on this album.
No.
I just want to point out how on top of their shit Spin was back in the day.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because Spin knew their shit, man.
Yeah.
They had Conor Oberst in page spreads early on. Like people like Spoon, they were like covering
There'd
stuff.
be like
that
a
was
run of Spin magazines that would be like Conor Oberst on the cover, Yeah's on
Arcade
the cover,
Fire.
Spoon, yeah, just good
They
stuff.
were amazing. Okay, here's how this album was reviewed by Pitchfork, Rolling Stone, and Spin.
Okay.
Pitchfork 4.6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone 3 out of 5.
Uh-huh.
Spin 9 out of 10.
Fuck yeah, Spin.
Right?
Yeah,
When
man.
I read that, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some other sites that did have a higher number.
Yeah.
Not higher than 9 out of 10, but like higher numbers, like 4 out of 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like top 3 big ones at the time.
Yeah.
Spin, Pitchfork,
America.
Spin, Pitchfork, and Rolling Stone. Spin is the one that it was like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
You know,
Speaking of
like-
which, another NME, which is not really it's a
Yeah.
that's a British magazine.
Yeah.
They're going under now.
Going under?
Yeah,
Really?
or at least they're ceasing print publication, which means they're like becoming a blog, like Spin did a couple
Well,
years ago.
And it's like, there's nothing there for you anymore. You're solely doing it for legacy purposes.
I get emails from spin.com somehow, and I'm like, that's weird.
That is weird.
Maybe I guess I've had this email address for a long time.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like the Spin subscription was to me,
yeah,
too. That's why I find that weird. You had Rolling Stone, and I think I was the one getting Spin.
Yeah, probably true.
Spin was the shit, though. Like when they had the cover with Bruce Springsteen and Win Butler.
That's
it was
true.
Like that's like the most famous article to me in the world.
Yeah.
Like that's like, yeah, that's the
New
music.
goal. Here's a new goal. Someday when they do some fucking 4-hour blowing itself documentary about Spin Magazine like they just did about Rolling Stone, we got to get in there as talking heads somehow.
That'd be awesome.
So Zach and Morgan Little podcast hosts, and we're like fucking Spin back in the day, man. 2003, 2004.
By the way, by that time, we'll have already gotten through Bright Eyes. So it'll list us as like podcast. It'll be like Zach and Morgan Little, and then it'll say like podcast hosts, and then it'll say, are you talking Arcade Fire in May? Whatever that podcast was called. Bright Eyes Full Heart Can't Lose, and then it'll be like Fire Albums, and then it'll be like some other.
Yeah, sure.
It'll be like the Titus Hand. Like a more perfect podcast.
And we're perfect podcast. Oh, that's what it's called. Oh, that's our Titus Andronicus podcast.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, that's the plan. So after we finish the Bright Eyes ones, we're going to do
podcast.
a productive podcast. Oh man, they've got some good
They've got
ones.
some good ones. I was gonna go the monitor, and then I was like, the podcast.
Yeah, you could do like no podcast part 2, no podcast part 3.
Yeah, we could go on with it. Never mind.
The Enemy is Everywhere. That's another
Yeah.
good name for a podcast.
Ooh, that is
That's a
also,
good name for just like a Chapo trap house, just kind of like a ambling conversation style podcast.
For people who are not into Titus Andronicus, I want you to, when you edit this episode, just drop in "The Enemy Is Everywhere" real quick right here.
That song?
Just that part, you know,
okay.
where they keep going after it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we've talked about Mall of America a little bit. You want to keep going?
Yeah, I think this is the song where I learned the word agoraphobic. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what I was going to say, by the way, is that I never really realized until just now, thinking about the lyrics, that the second half of that opening line is kind of a joke. It's kind of a self-deprecating joke referencing the whole Desaparecidos thing. Because he says, murder on your folk career to make a rock record with the disappeared. We'll let the police helicopters throw stereos out on the lake. So it's like this diminutive image of the same thing. So instead of people throwing political dissidents out of a helicopter into the ocean, they're going to throw stereos out of a helicopter into a lake. So he's like, yeah, do whatever the musical equivalent of what you do in a political dissident is.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it's a fine song. It's got that, like, it's sort of more synthesizer keyboard driven than some of the other, because there's a guitar there, but it's a little behind the beat, and it's kind of this like just groaning 2 or 3 chord thing. Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a lot more keyboard action in that song, and it's pretty good. But I think maybe it's not very strong in our minds because of the song it leads to.
Yeah.
I wanna pledge allegiance to the country where I live. I don't wanna be ashamed to be American. But opportunity, no, it don't exist. It's the opiate of the populace.
Which is the happiest place on earth.
Right.
Which is the big one for me.
Yeah, I think it's a big one with Desaparecidos in general.
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of their more popular songs.
This is a song that basically takes patriotic imagery and Disney imagery and mixes them together. And I guess it really resonated with me at the time because I got it. Like I got the message that
yes,
that patriotism and like pride in the country and everything, these are fantasies. These are stories we tell ourselves.
I think that if you asked me one important line for this album, it would be the first one. I want to pledge allegiance to the country where I live. I don't want to be ashamed to be American.
Right.
Like as a, however old I was when I heard this song, young teen, I was like, fuck yeah. I shouldn't be like ashamed of, and it's like,
I definitely did a lot of, I have like a list of goofy adolescent things that I did
like,
related to this song. I did stop saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep.
At school and everything. I would refuse to say it. I made a music video for a English class using this song and footage of the Saddam Hussein's kidnapping? Saddam Hussein's capture.
Yeah.
When they found him in that little hole, and they were giving him giving him a dental inspection on CNN.
I watched Saddam's execution.
Yeah.
On a school at computer. I mean, on a computer at on a computer at school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah,
and it was troubling to watch. I
Yeah.
mean, unpleasant.
All that stuff is the footage of
Gaddafi.
Gaddafi. Yeah. Oh, that's awful.
I know, and that's another thing that I think about when I think about you saying I've always been uncomfortable with public shaming. I know that's like obviously the most.
That's a very extreme version,
but
yeah.
it's something that it makes me think of.
Getting
but I think
bayoneted
it's
to death on live
it's
TV
because
is-
I think I should not have been able to watch that.
Yeah.
On a computer at school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how comfortable do you feel about cheering over a dead body?
Yeah.
I know that it sounds extreme and ridiculous, but I'm saying that's what I think of when I think of that type of thing. Because it's like, just because he deserved that or whatever, you deserve to be put to death in some people's eyes. Why do you need... That's what I loved about Obama when they killed Osama bin Laden. When they were like, let's see the tape. He was like, we shoot his body into a million fucking pieces. What do you mean you want to see the tape? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to see that. His head explodes against the wall. Like,
Yeah.
why would you want to see that? You know, like, it's just, it doesn't help your society
Right.
for your, even your evil leader to be publicly executed.
Right.
This is a rabbit hole we did not need to go down.
Just trying to remember where we started on this.
We're hard to match, so we're up enough is not enough to fatten the cows and feed all of us is just a rationing of luck.
Well, I was thinking about all the things I did in high school that were like sort of a little extreme, but I'm not embarrassed by. Like, for instance, when I had to register for the draft in order to get financial aid for college, I took my draft number and I wrote it on my forearm in big numbers in Sharpie. And I like walked around school and I was like, this is all the government thinks I am. Just another body for their wars for oil or whatever. And I remember like teachers and stuff were like fucking cool. Like, you know, like nobody like rolled their eyes at me. They were like, whoa, this kid's cool. Like
That's funny.
Like, what a radical.
Yeah.
What a radical Zach Little is. He wrote his selective service number on his arm.
Well, you know, if you're a real punk rock, you would have gotten it tattooed.
Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know. It was
That's really funny.
So that was around this time that it was around. Yeah. So because I remember when this Desaparecidos album came out, I would have probably been freshman in high school
because you
And
graduated in 2006, right?
Yeah. So like probably I think it was during my sophomore English class is when I made that video, because it was before I had any kind of digital editing. So I was recording the footage of Saddam and looping in the Desaparecidos music as it was happening on TV for the first time.
Oh,
It was
that's
the only time I
nuts.
had that footage.
That's
So,
nuts.
Yeah.
Like to think that I mean, it seems like so long ago, and I guess it is, but weird. I feel like we didn't probably have this album in 2002 though. We probably had it in 2003.
Yeah,
right?
it probably took us about a year to catch up to it, because we were
Yeah.
we got onto the Bright Eyes wavelength around the time that Lifted came out, and then we kind of had to reconstruct the last few years of releases. So it was probably I probably picked up Fevers and Mirrors and then this.
Let's talk about Survival of the Fittest and how it's unlistenable.
It's
He hides in a suit like a snake in the grass.
I wouldn't say that it's unlistenable,
It's
but
like
I would say
noise garbage.
it doesn't
for
have a lot
2
of
minutes.
melody to it. The melody's not very strong.
It's the weakest of the songs, and it's also not good.
Yeah, the melody of the song is not too strong. The music is not that strong. It's just like
It's just garbage.
I think they're like it builds. It has basically two sections that are kind of like
I couldn't
rammed
even
together.
tell you how it goes. No, but I'm not asking you to regale the melody to me
Yeah.
because it's not a melody that's rememberable. I'm just saying, like, I can't even place, like, I skip over it every time because it's a garbage song.
It's amazing you skip over it because it's probably 3 minutes long and the album is like 30 minutes long. So you might as well just let it play. I didn't realize you had an Infinity War t-shirt on.
Sarah's mother gave it to me. I don't wear it in public because the movie hasn't come out yet. You know?
Yeah.
You can't wear the shirt before the movie comes out.
That's true.
But she gave it. She doesn't know anything about. She just knows I love comic books.
Right.
So she buys me whatever comic book T-shirt she sees. So she didn't even know that this was the new movie.
Yeah.
Sarah was like, "Oh, it's the new movie. It's a T-shirt for the new movie," and she was like, "Oh, what? It's comic books, right?" Like But yeah, so I don't wear it in public yet. But
We just seamlessly transitioned because you took off your sweatshirt and I reacted to your T-shirt. We just seamlessly transitioned into Zach and we're going to discuss the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Nothing's gonna change my world.
okay, so let's talk about this T-shirt. It still has Mjolnir as
Thor's representative logo.
Yep. It has these spin-offs on the Captain America thing.
Ooh, that's questioning. I wonder.
That's got to be
War Machine? Which one's
no,
War Machine?
That's got to be War Machine, and that one's got to be the Falcon, right?
Oh, okay. I
Right?
thought maybe they were like, I thought
Look.
maybe they were sneak attacking some preview of something.
Look,
What's that?
I think that's Captain Marvel.
Ah,
I think she'll be in that movie.
interesting.
And then Black Panther. What's up top? Iron Man, Hulk, Vision? No, why would that be Vision?
I don't know. That's Hawkeye. That's
Oh,
got to be
Hawkeye.
the arrow. It's an arrowhead. So, it's
we're
Hawkeye.
missing some. I mean,
Yeah.
oh wait, that's Black Widow, and that's Doctor Strange.
Who do you think's gonna bite it in Infinity War?
I think it's going to be Captain America, which is so troubling to me. Captain America dies in the comic book
Yeah.
of Infinity War. He also dies in the Civil War comic
Yeah, he
book.
dies in a lot of
So
them.
he dies in a lot of them. And there's a constant mantle of Captain America being handed off. Sometimes it's Sam Wilson. Sometimes it's Bucky Barnes. I think that they could set up something like that.
Sure.
Bucky Barnes has already held the shield, which everyone took as like a Easter egg that he was going to have the shield at some point. I think Chris Evans wants to like go off and like direct stuff.
Huh.
He's made references to that. Here's the thing: if Captain America dies, I'm going to have trouble watching this movie ever again because I'm so connected to him as he's my guy.
Yeah.
In all of these things, it was always Spider-Man before, but now it's like it's Captain America. For
I don't
me.
like Captain America dying in the comic books too. I hate it every time.
And I don't want to see Tony Stark die. I don't think that they will, but they might.
I don't know.
They're
It's hard
pretty
to say.
ballsy, man. I think the Vision could go without much of a fight on people's parts.
But you can always bring the Vision back.
Yeah, you could. And you could kill off the Vision. You could. I mean, we aren't going to kill off Black Widow because we know that there's a movie in the future with
Sure.
Black Widow.
What if it could be a flashback?
It could be, but I just doubt that they would do that.
No.
Doctor Strange is brand new. He's not going anywhere. Black Panther's not going
Yeah,
anywhere.
no, you didn't. You refused to watch the most recent Infinity War trailer.
I watched it last night.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, Sarah and I watched it because we caved.
When they had that scene with Spider-Man talking to Doctor Strange toward
Oh
the
my
end, I
God.
was like, "This is it. This is
is it.
how they're building the rest of the movies. It's going
I
to be
agree.
the rest of these movies are going to be built around
Well,
Spider-Man and
Doctor
Doctor
Strange
Strange.
and Spider-Man are a classic comic combo.
Oh yeah,
They're together all the time, and they're brand new, huge stars. It's going to be Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That's the future. Now, Iron Man.
some people really like Sebastian Stan. I was surprised.
I really like Sebastian
I
Stan.
like him too, but I'm surprised people think he's super handsome. So like Christy's parents just watched Civil War, and Christy's mom was like, I like that guy who's Captain America's friend. And I was like, that's funny. I don't see him as like sexy guy, but some people really do.
But I do, but I really like Sebastian
I'm like,
Stan.
come on, who comes away from Civil War talking about anybody being attractive other than Chadwick Boseman? Come on.
That's true, but I also think that's true. Our household was very pro Black Panther walking out. Sarah would leave me for Chadwick Boseman for sure. How funny is it? Oh, we already talked about his accent, right? How
We
weird
did
it
we
is
did in
when
our
you-
mini episode, yes.
So-
which is on the live album, ZacharyLittle.bandcamp.com. There's a track on there called Are You Talking Adrian Lenker in March, and it's like a 20-minute mini episode for super fans of the show.
Yeah, check that out. I don't know what we say because I haven't listened to the whole thing either.
It's fine. We really go off on tangents.
Good.
Yeah.
That's where I like us. So Thor might die too. It's one of the big three. It's Thor, Iron Man, or Captain America. All are going to be troubling. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot that you could do with Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So I would try and hang on to that. And I would try and hang on to all of them. If you don't have to kill anyone off, don't do it.
Yeah, I don't really think you have to. That's
I don't
the
think
thing.
you have to either. And okay, but here's my prediction. I'm going on the record as to what's going to happen in Infinity War.
Okay.
Captain America is going to die. Iron Man is going to die, and the movie is going to end with Doctor Strange going back in time potentially Doctor Strange and Spider-Man going back in time. The next movie is going to lead off with them going back in time to Avengers 1, and there's going to be some sort of
So they're really going to Harry
stopping
Potter
point.
Cursed Child this shit.
Yeah, over the course of 2 movies.
I see.
And the second movie is going to be mostly them traveling through time to try and fix Thanos ruling the world, which the first movie is going to end with Thanos effectively ending Earth, you know?
I can see that as a possibility, but then the problem is that absolutely fucks any other Splinter franchise movies, you know? Like, if you end Infinity War on a downer note, you've got a year of other movies coming out
Yeah.
that then have to somehow take place in a world where Thanos rules the world, or what?
Yeah.
Like, so I guess when they said that Infinity War, the next Avengers movie is not Infinity War Part 2. When they said that, when they were like, "This is Infinity War, the next movie's gonna have a different title. It's not gonna be like Part 2." That made me think they're not ending this one on a cliffhanger. This is a story.
Yeah. Which that's very possible too.
This story ends the current phase of Avengers movies, and the next movie starts the next phase.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that what if we do this? What if we end it in a way that they kill Thanos, but ruin the world so much in their process that they have to turn it back in time to somehow do it differently? You know what I mean? Or something like that. The time thing is going to come into play. It's arguably the most powerful Infinity Stone. And I mean, I think they all have pretty equal power, but
What if Infinity
think
War
it's-
is the exact plot of the Joanna Newsom song Waltz of the 101st Lightborn, which is about going to war with an army for many years before eventually realizing that you're going to war with yourself from the future, defeating yourself from the future, and then basically the experience of time flattening out and no longer existing. That's what that song's about.
Yeah, let's go with that.
It's like the greatest. It's like the greatest science fiction short story ever, and it's in the form of a song.
That's interesting. Well, she's just a really, really, really smart lady. Let's launch into the last 2 songs, right?
Yeah. Okay, so wait, we did. All right, yeah. So dollar signs.
Dropping back the pulpit as we should bleed the balls. Coca-Cola trickling down my throat.
Is one that very prominently uses a bunch of samples,
Yeah, and
like-
they're great.
like QVC
Yeah,
shopping network
shopping
samples.
network sounds.
Yeah. So this is just a song just generally about selfishness and greed and capitalism.
Yeah,
And it actually got me thinking about the fact that, yes, this is an album about how capitalism is the root of all evil, but it also stops to take time to indict individual players along the way. And to say, like, it's not just one boogeyman, you know? It's not just like, if we all became a socialist country, everything would be fine.
Right.
Because individual people are the problem, even people that would consider themselves on the right side of things. That's the next song, more than it's
Right.
this song. But it's everybody. It's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
In general, I think that capitalism gets blamed for a little bit too much. I saw this post on Tumblr maybe a year ago, and it was about how the 8 hours of sleep is a product of capitalism. And they were like, yeah, you know, like, because there was this thing about workers, and they were saying, like, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of time to yourself, 8 hours of sleep. And it's a capitalist invention that we're only supposed to sleep for 8 hours. And I was like, fucking Derek, don't use capitalism as an excuse for why you should be able to sleep into 11 a.m., motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually what they're talking about is a labor movement propaganda.
Right.
So the labor movement was the one who fought for an 8-hour workday, and they said 8 hours of sleep,
Yeah.
8 hours of work, 8 hours to yourself. Just stop the 12-hour workday.
right.
And so the idea that kind of like just incessant anti-capitalist talk on Twitter and Tumblr and stuff can even warp people into thinking that labor movement propaganda is like an engine of capitalist destruction is like, all right, you need to step back, and there
Yeah.
are other things that are a problem here.
Yeah, I feel the
8
same
hours
way.
of sleep is fucking plenty of sleep.
Yeah, and
I say that as someone who gets sleep in 2.5 hour batches.
yeah,
I think medically speaking, you're cool with like 6.
Yeah.
But it's about the problem with having a young baby is that it's about having uninterrupted sleep because you got to get to like REM sleep or whatever. And I think
Yeah.
it takes like 4 hours. So that's the problem. You don't really
Right.
ever get to that.
Right.
So that song, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about dollar signs?
Not really.
So that leaves us with Hole in One.
Rather pay, so let's not talk percentages. 14-hour days, still 2 mortgages. We have to stay free. They gave it an ad campaign that didn't help.
Which has this great, like, I don't know how I would describe the music in this. This song has that great like siren synth part
Yeah.
and that really heavy bass.
Yeah.
And like great drums and everything. It just kicks in really hard.
The band, man, they're killing it.
And this is a song that does more self-indicting than anything else. It's about first it's about like a guy who like used to be a farmer who
Yep.
like sold out.
I
Then
like I pulled up the lyrics so I would know exactly what he says, but I
Yeah.
like the first line where he says, "A man at the bank said, let's not talk percentages.
Yeah.
14-hour days, still 2 mortgages."
Right.
I just like that's a good way to kick off what we're talking about
Yeah.
here.
I also like there's a line that says like adolescence made her an activist. Now something like she's the one who does all the lecturing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's funny because he's talking about like sanctimonious liberals, you
Yeah.
know? And like, oh, like someone who is so careful about where all their food comes from, but like buys
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah.
And so like, which is in a lot of ways contributing to like, if you're buying
Right.
cocaine or whatever, you're contributing to far worse moral things than if you bought Monsanto tomatoes or whatever. the
Yeah.
fuck. And then eventually he turns it on himself.
Yeah.
And he says, like, you know, you can buy my records down at the corporate chain. I tell myself I shouldn't be ashamed, but I am.
So run it up, I'll run my mouth. Never mind the shit I sing about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's saying, like, here I did just lecture at you for half an hour about politics. But look at me. You can buy my fucking CD
Yeah.
at Walmart.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't anymore. 'Cause
No.
the only CDs you can get at Walmart are Man of the Woods.
Kenny Chesney.
Yeah. But you could.
Yeah.
For a while there. And then he sings that last part, the last couple lyrics of the song are like, he's describing like having a big house.
Yeah.
And he said, like, I know it seems like a lot. That's why I pay someone to clean it up.
Yeah.
And then the last lyrics is him just screaming, "My big house!"
Yeah.
And it's funny.
It is. I mean, it definitely has like Conor Oberst's sense of humor is not always there, but
Yeah.
like when it shines through, it's always very similar. He's got like a very specific way of making a song funny.
And
you know?
it illustrates the arc of the whole album. So the album starts, you know, with just a marriage, and then it slowly kind of expands outward to just indict everything, you know, the whole system.
Yeah.
But then it comes back around to be like, but I'm the problem too.
Yeah. Capitalism is something that creates this like kind of fucked up society, and all the things that we want in life are kind of led by like they sit upon that very
Yeah.
heavily. Your money and your, you know, the way that you create your life or whatever kind of messes with you and makes you either feed in, like either buy in or you're.
But I think the thing is, you have to accept responsibility. That's the thing, is that you have to go, all right, well, sure, maybe my motivations were warped by a system I did not choose to participate in, but I still did it. You
Yeah.
know? I still did it. I'm still a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a big part of the ending, the parting lesson of this album,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is cool. I think it's cool that he was able to get any lessons out in
Yeah.
at age 21 or whatever he was when this album came out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I also think, by the way, this is just sort of a stray observation, but one thing that I've always thought was funny about Conor Oberst is that he can do like macho patriotic bluster better than people who really mean it. You know, like
Yes.
there are these country singers out there who want to sing these big brash patriotic,
sounds
we're going to
fake.
bomb the shit out of you,
Yeah.
Osama bin Laden songs. Conor Oberst can sing about bombing the shit out of other countries and sound genuinely threatening and tough, even
Yeah.
though he's being sarcastic.
It's true.
And it's truer in later Conor Oberst songs even than it is in I'm thinking of like Road to Joy. Like
Sure.
no one's sure how all this got started, but we're gonna make them goddamn certain how it's gonna
Yeah.
end. It's like, man, he does, even when he's just pretending to do the voice of like
Yeah.
whoever a guy who's gonna sing a song like that song, the "Take a Knee, My Ass." That guy. Did you hear about that song?
No.
There was some country singer who wrote this anthem against NFL players, and the song is called "Take a Knee, My Ass," but then in parentheses it was "I won't take a knee." I think because he realized "Take a Knee, My Ass" sounds like a weird message.
Yeah.
And first of all, it sounds like "kick me in the ass."
Yeah.
But also, it doesn't sound pro flag.
Well, and the whole like these motherfuckers are such goddamn hypocrites. They're gonna talk about your right to protest and like all this shit, and then Colin Kaepernick does it, and you guys all fucking have a goddamn hissy fit over it.
Yeah,
It's
and free
he's
speech.
a fucking football player. Who gives a shit what he thinks?
Free speech is so important for
Until it's a black dude.
or a kid who was a victim of a school shooting.
Yeah, they're
suddenly.
such fucking hypocrites.
Yeah, but the thing is, the weird part about it is that they're just so brazenly unknowing hypocrites.
I know.
Like if they recognized or at least paid some service to the fact that like I know this is different than when I say this thing, but they don't. Because
No.
they're content. They know that the people that support them don't give a shit.
I was gonna say the people that support them are fucking dumb.
Right, easily duped.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to go back and make up for how what you said before doesn't make sense to what you're saying now.
And they would sit
because-
there and argue with you, by the way. They would sit there and argue with you about how I'm not being fucking duped, you're being fucking duped, and like all this shit. But it's like, but you're not even addressing
what
what I'm talking about.
look at
You're
how-
just denying.
Look at how
everything
Donald
that I'm
Trump was
saying.
walked in a circle on gun control. Like Donald Trump just agrees with whoever's in the room with him is saying. So if you just get a camera in that room, you can
Yeah.
get him to say anything you want.
I liked that. I liked that he was fucking those Republicans over so hard on the NRA. He kept saying to them things like,
But they-
well, yeah, you say that because you're scared of the NRA. And it's like, yeah, it's not so great when the fucking pit bull gets turned on you, isn't it? Fucking, the guy's a fucking idiot. Like,
But the NRA brought him right back around
yeah,
eventually.
I know they did. Well, of course they did, because he's a fucking, because he's a fucking idiot. And somebody sat him in the Oval Office and explained to him why he wasn't allowed to tell Republicans in front of cameras that they were afraid of the NRA.
And that he's talking more and more about like arming teachers now and all this bullshit. And, it speaks to the type of shit that I was just talking about that I did in high school could easily be perceived as a threat by a teacher, could easily go internet viral in some dumbass, out of control, stupid way now. And that's one thing that I guess I don't think about when I think about how the Desaparecidos exist in this world. As up to date as the politics of the songs sound, there's a whole part that they're not addressing,
Right.
and there's this whole way that everything that the internet and that mass high speed communication can warp in a new way.
The whole guns in schools is like the most terrifying thing in the whole wide world to me. Like there was this guy, I can't remember his last name. There was a teacher in high school that I was genuinely scared of. And I was walking through the school one day with a backpack, and you weren't allowed to carry around your backpack in high school for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Probably a safety issue.
Yeah.
So he came up to me and grabbed me by the arm and like yelled at me for no reason, kind of thing. And it's like that dynamic changes when that dude has a gun. That gets scary quickly when you don't, just because you background check this guy doesn't mean that
not for nothing, but it attracts different kind of people to the job. The same way that certain people are attracted to being police officers.
Yeah.
They're attracted to it because they want to carry a gun and bully people around.
Yeah.
There are people who are very sensitive, who would make great teachers, who if you make them carry a gun, they're not going to be a teacher.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's up to Chet to take the job.
Yeah. That's funny.
Good benefits, it's just like
Yeah.
being a police officer. Good
It
benefits. You get to harass teenagers.
Yep.
Great gig for a guy with a gun and a small ego.
Yeah. Ugh, God. What a downer.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something fun on our way out.
So Read Music Speak Spanish. Great album.
Yeah.
Like just a wonderful portrait of 2002 America, but also so far ahead of its time.
Agreed.
Both of the moment and of the and toward the future. Yeah. So good album, great sound, totally different from anything else we're gonna hear from Conor Oberst for a long fucking time.
Well, and I think it's important that, like, as a brilliant musician, the guy can go and do this apocalyptic punk album and then go directly into, what was his follow-up? Because Lifted had already come out.
No, Lifted came out after.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
What a crazy man.
So this is, I had a whole document where I laid out the golden ages of Saddle Creek. We're going to talk about this. We'll talk about it next time because I lost the document and I got to map it back out again. But suffice it to say, this is the second golden age of Saddle Creek. Is basically the year 2002 and a little bit of 2003.
Right.
It's like when Read Music, Speak Spanish and Lifted and The Ugly Organ all came out. So like the first golden age of Saddle Creek is sort of the albums preceding that. Domestica, Fevers and Mirrors, Blank Wave Arcade, all those albums. That's first golden age. We are currently in the fifth golden age of Saddle Creek, which is the Hop Along Big Thief era of Saddle Creek. And it's notable for basically, I think, being the only Saddle Creek golden age so far to not include Conor Oberst in any way.
Right.
Because his albums aren't coming out on Saddle Creek anymore.
Right.
As I recall my little chart laying out the 5 golden ages, I'm pretty sure that People's Key was in the 4th golden age of Saddle Creek. It was the end of the 4th golden age of Saddle Creek.
Yeah.
So we've actually had a couple of years of the field being follow, and now the 5th golden age of Saddle Creek is beginning. So it's an exciting time.
Tim Kasher, been around through all of it.
But is he releasing all of his albums on Saddle Creek anymore?
I don't know.
I think he's like on,
I just meant like, kind of roughly related within the family tree of releases.
Yeah.
But he's also stayed at like that level of fame the whole time.
Yeah.
Conor Oberst has kind of transcended it all.
Conor Oberst is the Iron Man of this cinematic universe.
Very much so.
And Tim Kasher is
War
Thor,
Machine?
maybe? Thor, War Machine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a War Machine.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure
This
who
is
the
less
Thor is.
important.
Yeah.
But he's like, okay, let's do it. Ready? So Conor Oberst is Iron Man.
Conor Oberst
right?
is Iron Man, for sure.
Okay, so then let's talk about like important people back then. It's Tim Kasher. It's Todd Backley from...
Yeah. Well, obviously, wait a minute.
Fame.
Mike Mogus is obviously War Machine.
Oh, no, Mike Mogus should be like higher up.
Thor.
He should be like Thor.
He's a solid utility player. You know,
Yeah.
you can use him for drama. You can use him for comedy.
He's
You
Thor.
can use him for mystical visions.
Okay,
you can use him for all that shit.
All right, so Mike Mogus is Thor. Conor Oberst is Iron Man.
Yeah.
We need a Captain America.
I guess, man, Captain America.
That could be Tim Kasher.
Maria Taylor.
Are we just doing that like first gen?
I mean, throw in whatever you want.
I'm thinking like we got Rilo Kiley players.
True.
Jason Bozell's a big part of it because he was
Yeah.
the drummer through all of it. Let's make Jason Bozell Captain America.
Okay, Jason Bozell's Captain America.
Okay.
All right. So Conor Oberst is Iron Man. Jason Bozell's Captain America.
And Mike Mogus is Thor.
Hop Along is Black Panther.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I like that because it's like new kind of deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Guardians of the Galaxy is Big Thief.
Okay. All right, because they're also kind of like new whatever
Yeah.
player, you know.
Yeah.
All right. We need a Doctor Strange. That can be Phoebe Bridgers. No, she's not on Saddle Creek.
That's just she still kind of counts. I feel like Doctor Strange is like Andy Lamaster or something.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. We're definitely gonna need like a chart. We're gonna need somebody.
Yeah, we'll
putting
work
that
on this
out.
chart.
Yeah.
I don't know who. Like, I don't want to be like gender specific, but I actually do think Maria Taylor works as Black Widow.
She does.
Oh, also both recently blonde in their respective cinematic universes.
Wait. Is Maria Taylor blonde?
Yeah, Maria Taylor dyed her hair blonde.
No.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that would look like.
she looks fine. She looks good.
Ugh.
It works. It works for her.
I can't imagine it.
Well, just check her out on Instagram. This whole podcast is basically just viral marketing from Maria Taylor's Instagram.
I am gonna check it out on her Instagram.
Yeah.
There's no question that I'm not going to.
Yeah. By the way, I think Phoebe Bridgers is Spider-Man, by the way.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't have to be the Saddle Creek. It can be the Conor Oberst cinematic
It should
universe.
be. It should be. It shouldn't be like
Yeah.
Because then we could really plug in on the more important people. Like we could have M Ward in there. On
Yes.
on one of the original.
Oh, yeah. M.
You
Ward
know.
is like your Hulk, Incredible Hulk or something.
Yeah. M Ward would be a good Hulk. He looks like Bruce Banner.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Who else didn't we have someone that we were calling Bruce Banner? Oh no, that was a doctor of mine. There was a doctor that I was seeing. The gastroenterologist that I was seeing, I kept calling him Bruce Banner because he looks like him. Okay, and Jim James maybe.
Yeah, Jim James is probably Hawkeye.
Yeah, he's like he's one of the lamer ones. We need like the
Todd Fink is Vision. Because he's an android.
Yeah, definitely. And then, yeah. All right. Well, I think we've gone far enough down this hole.
This is pretty good.
This is ridiculous.
This is plenty.
This is
All right.
ridiculous.
We will post our chart of the Conor Oberst Marvel Cinematic Universe and a
need
picture
someone to make this,
of the mobile that we got from Josh and Paige. It'll be on my Tumblr. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Bright Eyes, Full Hearts, Can't Lose. We will be back to discuss Lifted Part 1.
Yeah, Lifted Part 1, which is going to be quite the episode.
But we're going to do a two-part episode, probably, because we feel like we won't be able to contain ourselves to
It'd be
one.
sweet if we just did a 4-hour episode on Lifted, but I just don't see us doing it.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think our voices can make it.
Yeah.
So we'll be back to talk about Lifted. Get started listening to Lifted. We love you. Have a good day.
Bye.
I believed they had got what they came for. I believed our peril was done. On the eve of the last of the great wars, after 3 we had narrowly won. But 4th, it was carelessly done.